Welcome to the first of the heavy bag series. Okay, so in these collection of videos, my aim is to teach you how to utilise this bit of kit as an efficient training tool. Alright, so that starts with you training with purpose. So you don't want to be the person that walks up to this and just starts dicking about. Okay, anytime you get with this, treat it as golden. Also, don't make the misconception that heavy bag training is combination training. That's part of it, but where you need to start is the fundamentals. Right, so you need to know isolate a shot, work it on the bag so you feel confident that it's a good shot, and then you can start putting all the pieces together and building up into combinations. And I will do that, but the combinations I'll look at will be street orientated as opposed to working from a boxing platform. Even though we will draw on some of the elements from it, it will be mainly street orientated. In terms of kit that you'll need, obviously you'll need something hard, so I'm blessed with a heavy bag. It's a half bag, you can get a full one. Failing that, you can have a bob. Can't afford a bob, then get a half a bob that you can stick to a wall. Failing that, then you can look on YouTube. There are many tutorials on there on building a tyre dummy, or you could at least get half a tyre and stick that to the wall as well. Or the most basic one is just a bag full of sand and hang that off the wall. It's just something with a bit of resilience and resistance to it will do the job. In terms of what you put on your hands, you need a good place to start would be boxing gloves. Alright, so either bag gloves or boxing gloves. Essentially what that'll do is offer you some level of protection on your knuckles, so it'll allow you to get to a level of conditioning where then you can then make the transition to the MMA gloves. So boxing gloves offer you good protection, where the downfall of it is it's not actually the correct part of the hand that's hitting in real life. We work from a bare hand perspective. So gloves, you're striking around on this plate, all of this. In terms of punching in the street, you need to hit with this, or if it was an open palm strike. So you're restricted in terms of the shape that you can form with your hand, and also the correct strike plate that you're hitting with. So that's one of the downfalls, but to start with, that'd be a good place. Where you want to is get to a stage where you are mixing between the two or solely training with MMA gloves. So I'm confident with just utilising this, but I've been doing this for quite a few years. But I like MMA gloves because, like I said, I'm making sure that I'm hitting with the right place. If I'm not, I feel it straight away. I also get to see on the back, more so than I would do with a glove. There's also the element of, because it's open, I can start to manipulate the bag because my fingers are free to do whatever, and also I can work many different other strikes, whereas that is a meat club. But also, more importantly, there's a psychological element to it. So I always struggle with wearing gloves, always, and it's always because when I put them on, I just adopted a boxing complex, a sporting complex. So I would always fight as if I was fighting in a ring. As soon as I put one of these on, or nothing on, I felt completely different. I was a different animal. So there was a mental dichotomy of how I trained with this and this. So I made the transition very quick to stick with these. So that's what I'm going to be working throughout these sessions today. Okay, so in this video we're going to look at the two main linear strikes, alright, so a jab and a right cross. In terms of the jab, we want to employ it as we would do in the street. So that would be something as a starter for 10. Something to open up the fight and then follow up with some big shots immediately after that. I haven't got time to wear this guy down with jabs for 3 minutes, so I've got to get it done real quick. So that's the way we replicate that on the bag as well, in terms of combinations that we're going to look at. You could do the same with a palm strike. You could send it out and bring it back rapidly back, or you could send it out and leave it attached to the face, but you certainly wouldn't do that with a closed fist. You wouldn't throw this out and leave it there. So it's got to have a pop to it. That's the main thing. Just one thing before we start getting into the drills, target marking on the bag. Right, so here what I've done is put an additional band of tape around here. Serves a couple of purposes. One is to add additional integrity to the bag so the bag lasts longer, but also it reminds me where I need to be fucking hitting. Alright, you often see people walk straight up to a bag, or if they're working on it for a while, the hands drop, and then they do something like this, right, pushing down here. I ain't fighting a kid. Right, I've got to remind myself that I'm fighting at someone at least my own height. If you've got a longer bag with a higher placement, higher than what I have, then I would have the tape even higher. Right, so I'm always fighting suboptimal, so I'm having to punch up all the time. Because if I get comfortable with that, then it's easier to drop the hands, but it's harder to raise the hands all the time if you've only been training here. Alright, so there's a little tip. You can do it with chalk, you can do it with tape, whatever. You can do one. I would ideally do one at the high line, just above hip, and that'd be a good place to start. So let's have a look at some drills. First set of drills you're going to look at in terms of the jab are from a static placement. So that means set yourself up right. So get your feet in a fighting stance. Right, you know all this because I've talked about it in previous videos. And get your hands out so it's just touching the pad. What I want you to do is take a half a step forward so that causes the bag to lean, right, away from you. And then you know you're getting good depth on the shot. You don't want to hit this with jab where you're just skimming it, because you're not delivering any power into the shot. So again, from here, put your hand on the pad, take a half step forward, so you're half an inch step forward, so you're causing a lean. Now you've got good depth on your shot. You are going to work 10 reps from this position. Remember, key points are send it out, back, fast as you can. Alright? Power is coming from the back foot, pushing, and then you have a slight extension on the shoulder, and you can get a slight turn in the foot. I'm not going to go into any more mechanics than that. If you need to, watch the other videos that I've done on palm striking. Alright, so just work 10 strikes. Key point with this is where you start to analyse what you're doing. So stop and think, am I hitting with the right part? Do I feel it on my knuckles, this set of knuckles rather than the top ones? So I need to make sure that my hands are going in the right place. Also watch the bag and see how it moves. So when you hit this bag, it should move in the direction only that you're hitting it. Right? It should kick up and move in that direction. What I don't want it to do is spin, because that shows then to me that I'm offside. You know, I'm not offline. Sorry, I am offline. So from here, I want to send it all in here so it makes the back kick up and move that way. Okay? So you should see that. What you don't want to see is that. The bag spins. Alright, so that's your immediate feedback. So the first drill is single jab. Second one is double jab. Right? So this tests over commitment. Right, but still has combat application, street combat application, as well as the single jab. So you're going to go from here, 2 jab, right? Again. That, remember to bring it back. 10 reps of those. Last one in this simple set is a triple jab, right? So here you're sending 1, 2, 3. That has no street combat application really. After this first 2, you really want to be following up with a big shot. But what this drill is just teaching you, or working on retraction, okay, and biomechanics, that's it really. And also a way of building up your reps. So that's where it fits in. Alright, it's important that you work the first 2 more, but this one is a good way to work all the other stuff. So here you're just going to go 3 shots. Again. 3 shots. 10 reps of those. So the next we're going to look at is the same tool, jab. You're going to incorporate a short step in. So this is looking at the employment of biomechanics, body mechanics, and shifting your weight into the shot, which is what you want to do with the jab. You don't just want to jab with the weight of your arm. You want to pop the whole body into it, which requires you to step and land your foot at the same time as you throw the shot. Alright, so from here, if we're working here with the lean, reset that. Now you take a little half a step back, and that'll be your starting position. Okay? So from here, I want to step, boom, and as I land, boom. That's happening at the same time. Alright, so that means all my weight is transferring into the jab, as opposed to just the arm weight. Alright, so if we go from here, to calibrate yourself, go from the original position with a slight lean, let the pad come back, take a half a step up the back, that's it. So you want about that much distance between that. So now when I have to point, that happens. It means all my weight is going into the shot. So you're going to do 10 reps of those. Okay, to recap, so far we've looked at a single strike, a double, and then a triple jab at the end of it. First two, single and the double, had combat application, so that's how I really want you to work it out on the street. The third one was more of an attribute trainer, so getting the reps in, working the body mechanics. Then we took a step away and took a step in as we threw the shot, so that's now adding in body weight into our shot. And now we're going to look at movement. So here we're looking at stepping off. We're going to look at it in two ways. You're going to step off as you're striking, and then the second one will be stepping off before you throw the strike. Right, so what I mean by that is, one here when I throw the strike, and it's just about to land, I'm about halfway offline from here, so it becomes that. And the other one we're going to look at is I'm going to step off and then throw the jab in this direction. So I move offline, boom, boom. You'll get to a stage where you can't see the difference between the two, and that's perfectly fine as well. Alright, so the first one we're going to look at is you're striking and moving off at the same time. So from here, so I'm halfway and the punch is halfway, and when I land, boom, it's landed. Okay? Slow motion, boom. Okay? Do 10 reps of those. Second part, you're going to step and hit. So that now looks like I step, but remember when I step, I don't take the shoulders and point them in the same direction. I take a step, reorientating my shoulders like they're tracking the centre beam here. So all the time my shoulders have gone from here and still pointing to the centre. That's why it's good to have a mark, right, so your body can track where it should be. So I step and then I throw my shot here through the centre of the pad. So that would be the side of his face here. This would be his nose, that would be the side of his face. So I go from here and send that through. Be careful, this is where you will start to see. So this is where you need to look at your bag for feedback, where you don't skim the shot or spin it. Right, spin the bag. So you don't want to spin the bag like that. Okay? Even if you are hit slightly offline, you'll spin the bag. You need to make sure that you're going straight through the centre. Okay, we're going to leave it at that for the jab now, but just to recap, we did a single, a double, triple, a body weight involved in it, and then also some kind of movement where we stepped off in two different ways. We stepped off as we're striking, or we stepped off and then struck. Okay? Once you've got that down and feel confident with your left jab, say if you're right hand dominant and your left hand is your left jab, then switch stance and work the opposite side. So now this becomes my jab, okay? Or vice versa, depending on which one you want. Okay, after you've done that, now then move on to the next section where we're going to look at the right cross. Okay, so look at the right cross. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want to know how to throw a right cross, then look at the videos that I've done before on palm strikes. But just a short recap is that what I'd like for you to focus on is that the body mechanics are correct. So you need to drive into the ground, screw the foot in, turn the hip, let the shoulder go, and then the right cross is going out. It is going out and back as fast as the jab could go. Okay? Just remember now that this has to go further, so you need to make sure you are turning the hip. Starting position, so we're going to start in a similar fashion as we did to the jab. We're going to work from a static position. You're going to throw 10 strikes from a static position. So setting yourself up is important. So again, from here, have the shot extended and the hip turned, then push that through so the pad is leaning. All right, then turn back. That's your starting position. That's where you want to comfortably hit from. So from here, going through all the pad. All right. So you work 10 from here. Snap it in, snap it back. Okay. Here we're looking for quality, not quantity. So what I don't want to see is nah. Just take your time landing good solid shots. That's the whole point of a heavy bag. Can you land a solid shot? Then you can build up the speed and the quantity after that. So take your time to hit it, reset the bag and go back. Of course, the next step would to be throw a double right cross and then a triple right cross. this probably still is starting to have more combat application, because you would start to, once you've opened up with your non-dominant hand, you will start throwing multiple shots off the same hand. So throwing 2 or 3 shots off the same hand is feasible if it's just your strong hand. Alright, so we're going to work that from here. You're going to work throwing 2 shots and 3 shots. Okay, so the next one will be in similar fashion that we did with the jab. I'm now going to step in with the right cross. Okay, so you want to get the body weight behind it. So set yourself up, lean, right, take a little step back. So there's a gap here, so now I have to step and land the feet as I'm landing the shot. Work 10 reps of those. Take your time after each one to reset and compose yourself, and then work the power. Like that. Okay, the next one is slightly different. So keeping on this plane of movement, going through the pad, we are going to take a step back and then step back in. Okay, so that's incorporating maybe evasive movement and then counter-attacking straight away. So from here, the shot is to the right cross. We're going to step back and then step back in with the shot. So you can start from here, step back in. So when I land this back foot, it becomes a coiled spring, so it compresses, the power is stored in the calf for it to explode back. So again, from here I step back, as soon as that lands I punch back and go back in. Okay, so have a go at that. So next one will be like we did with the jab. We're going to step off and hit. So you get the idea. You can either do it as you can step off as you're hitting, or step off and hit back in. Alright, play with the both of them. So the first one would look like I would be hitting and stepping as I moved offline, and then squaring the shoulders afterwards. The second version would be I would step, square the shoulders, and then hit back in like this. Okay? So really there's no difference other than the timing it lands and when the shoulders square back. So from here, moving back in. So there I stepped and I hit at the same time. This one would be step and hit back in afterwards once the foot is planted. Have a go at that. Okay, so the final one we'll look at is an attached strike. So here I'm repeatedly going to strike with my dominant hand for 3 shots whilst having an attachment with my non-dominant hand. Alright, so here I've taken a resistance band, looped it through, just grab that, and now I've got something to pull on. As I'm pulling this, I'm throwing the shot. So you want to kind of get the timing so this comes back. As this comes back, this one meets. So it's like this comes back, it's going out. You're just going to work it for 3 strikes from here. Alright, you're going to find it's going to go all over the shot. But this is some way to replicating the messiness of it all whilst trying to hold on to something that wants to move about. Okay, so again, from here for 3 strikes. Notice that this is pulling as I'm hitting it to enhance the effect of the strike. Don't just hold. You can start where you just hold it and hit. Once you got to that stage, once you got past that stage, then start pulling on this hand as well as you hit. Look at that. You want this to be short and sharp, not all the way out, all the way extending back. So it's just that this moves because it's a resistance band. If it's heavy garment or clothing, it would just rip. I wouldn't extend that far. But have a go at that. Okay, so it's now we've installed some fundamentals, and you don't need any more than that really, that we'd start to employ some combination work. So the first one you're going to do is a basic jab cross. Right, it's the mainstay of street combat. Right, so it's just going to go boom boom, straight out, in and out. Have a go at 10 reps of those. Static. So I know then my right hand came right down, so I need to correct that. Span. Got it. See how I'm feeding myself, getting my feedback from the bag and correcting it each time? That's what you need to do. Not walking up to go bam, 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 bam. Alright, isolate each shot and pay attention to it. Right, 10 reps, jab cross. Next, 10 reps, jab cross, jab cross. Alright, simple. I'm looking to bury the bag into that bit. Right, I don't want it spinning around, I just want to go straight line. Alright, 10 reps, jab cross, jab cross. So those two being static, now we're going to add the step in. So you're going to go step in with the jab cross. So as you step in, jab lands, right cross follows. Alright. Now you're going to step off line as you throw the jab cross. So again, it could be step off, hit the jab cross, step off and throw the jab cross at the same time. Doesn't really matter. You get the idea. So from here, I'm going boom, boom. I should end up here, or here, I end up here and then go boom, boom. Don't really fucking matter. So I'll go with that. And last one, you're going to pop in with the jab, step back, and then step back in with the right cross. Right, so from here, we can't reach. I'm going to pop in, boom, move back, cross. Again, from here, can't reach, got to step in, boom, pop back, cross. See how the bag starts to sway towards me, which causes me to move back, and then let's go in. Alright, just to recap, can't reach, pop in, boom, back, back. Right, 10 of those. So here we're breaking up the rhythm and dealing with some kind of reaction from the first shot. So it could be you throw the jab, but because you're throwing it correctly and not over-leaning, reaching, then your recovery is possible. Which means I threw this, he slipped it, and then his head started to come back and come forward, which meant then from here I could come back. So I fed it, boom, like that. Right, I've got that. Right, let's conclude it all then. We'll put all the elements together. So you see, now once you've worked those, then you can start to freestyle. So this is freestyle. So I want you to work everything. I want you to work jab, jab where you are, jab where you have to move out and back in, right cross where you are, right cross that you have to step in, right cross that you have to step back and move back in, right left that you have to step off, right that you have to step off, all kinds of combinations, doubles, and then you start to have fun. Okay, so that's your first step to utilising this kit as an effective training tool. You go through things like that in a step-by-step fashion, applying simple rules and guidance like I did to any strike. You get the idea how you're going to be more productive on the bag. And then when you hit it, people will take notice of it, as opposed to just walking up and dicking about. But the main things that we concentrated on with the jab and the cross, I gave you simple rules was work it from static position, get good at that. After you've got good from a static position, you can add movement in. After you got movement in, you can have movement off to the side, or movement back and then back in. Get that down, then you can freestyle all you want. Okay, so we'll have another one quite shortly on something else, but for now, I hope you enjoyed that.